Look at the world we have created. We have built towers that touch the clouds, carved roads that stretch across entire continents, and engineered devices that can connect us instantly to anyone, anywhere on this planet. We are surrounded by more comfort, more convenience, and more entertainment than any generation that came before us. By all accounts of modern progress, we should be living in an age of ultimate fulfillment. Yet, underneath all this noise, underneath the flashing lights and the constant stream of notifications, there is a quiet, heavy emptiness that echoes through modern life. It is an ache that people carry with them into their crowded workplaces, into their beautifully decorated homes, and into their beds at night. We have filled our lives with objects, schedules, and digital connections, but our souls remain profoundly hungry. We have perfected the art of surviving and accumulating, but we have forgotten how to truly live. To understand why modern life feels so empty, we must look at what we have traded away in exchange for our convenience. My ancestors always taught me that the human being is not an isolated creature designed to dominate the world, but a small, delicate thread woven into the grand fabric of creation. The earth is not just a collection of resources to be mined, cleared, and sold. It is our mother. The trees, the rivers, the wind, and the animals are our relatives. When you walk upon the earth with open eyes, you realize that everything around you is alive, breathing, and communicating. But modern society has severed this sacred umbilical cord. We have paved over the living soil with thick, cold concrete. We spend our days trapped inside boxes of glass and steel, breathing artificial air and looking at artificial light. We have insulated ourselves from the natural world, believing that our technology makes us superior to it. But when a creature separates itself from the very source that sustains it, a deep spiritual malnutrition sets in. The emptiness you feel is the loneliness of the spirit, longing to hear the rustle of the leaves, to feel the raw earth beneath its feet, and to remember that it belongs to something ancient, beautiful, and vast. We have also fallen victim to the dangerous illusion that happiness can be purchased. Modern culture is an endless machine designed to make you feel incomplete. From the moment you open your eyes and look at a screen, you are bombarded with messages telling you that you are not attractive enough, successful enough, or secure enough as you currently are. You are told that the solution to this inner insufficiency is to buy the next product, achieve the next title, or move into a larger house. We spend the best years of our lives, the peak of our physical energy, chasing these external illusions. We sacrifice our peace, our time with family, and our mental well-being to accumulate wealth and possessions. But the human spirit cannot be fed by material things. When you acquire the object you so desperately wanted, the initial thrill quickly fades, leaving behind the exact same void you had before. This is because emptiness is a spiritual condition, and you cannot fill a spiritual void with material goods. Chasing possessions to cure emptiness is like drinking salt water to quench your thirst. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. We have become a society that knows the price of everything but the value of nothing, trading our precious, limited time on this earth for items that turn to dust the moment we leave them. This emptiness is made even heavier by the profound breakdown of true human connection. We live in the most interconnected era in human history, yet we are living through an epidemic of loneliness. We have hundreds of digital friends. We track the lives of strangers through photographs, and we send messages across oceans in seconds. But a digital interaction is a shadow of real connection. True connection requires presence. It requires looking into another person's eyes, hearing the subtle changes in their voice, and sitting with them in their joy or their sorrow without the distraction of a glowing screen. For thousands of years, human beings lived in close-knit communities where everyone's survival was intertwined. If someone was grieving, the community gathered to hold them. If someone succeeded, the community celebrated together. No one was left to carry the weight of life entirely on their own. Today we live crammed together in massive cities, yet we are strangers to the people who live right across the hall. We walk through crowded streets with our eyes locked onto our phones, actively avoiding contact with the human beings passing by. We have traded the warmth of the tribal fire for the cold, isolating glow of our personal devices. We are starving for genuine belonging, but we have built walls of isolation around ourselves, fearing vulnerability, while wondering why our hearts feel so completely hollow. Along with isolating ourselves from one another, we have lost our reverence for the sacred rhythm of time. Modern life treats time as an enemy to be conquered and exploited. Everything must be fast, efficient, and productive. We rush through our mornings, race through our work, and push ourselves to the brink of exhaustion, believing that constant movement is the sign of a successful life. We have turned our minds into chaotic storm clouds that are always worrying about the next hour, the next day, or the next year. But look at the wisdom of the earth around you. Nature never rushes, yet everything is completed in its perfect season. A river does not sprint to the ocean. It winds gracefully through the valleys, taking the time it needs to shape the land. A seed does not burst into a towering tree overnight. It rests in the deep, quiet darkness of the soil, growing slowly and establishing its roots before it ever attempts to reach for the sky. Winter is not an error in nature. It is a sacred time of rest, withdrawal, and regeneration. Modern society has abolished the winter from human life. We are expected to be in a constant state of summer, always producing, always performing, and always consuming. This relentless, frantic pace burns out the inner fire of the human spirit. It leaves us perpetually exhausted, running on empty, unable to appreciate the beauty of the present moment because we are always chasing a future that never truly arrives. To escape this emptiness, modern society has developed a terrifying dependency on noise and distraction. The world we live in is waging a constant war against your attention. Every app, every video, every billboard, and every notification is designed to pull you away from yourself. We have become so conditioned to this constant stimulation that we have grown terrified of silence. The moment we find ourselves alone in a quiet room, or waiting in a line for a few minutes, we immediately reach for our phones to drown out the stillness. We treat quietness as a void that must be filled with sound, entertainment, or information. But we must ask ourselves what we are truly running from. We fear the silence because when the external noise stops, the internal noise begins. In the quiet, the emotions we have buried deep inside start to rise to the surface. In the silence, our regrets, our fears, and our unhealed wounds demand to be looked at. In the silence, the soul asks the questions we have spent years avoiding. Who are you when the work is over? What are you running from? Why are you truly here? Because these questions are heavy and uncomfortable, we choose to stay distracted. We choose the chaotic, numbing noise of the world over the quiet truth of our own being. But healing cannot happen in the noise. Just as muddy water can only become clear when it is allowed to sit perfectly still, your mind can only find clarity when you allow it to experience silence. It is only in the deep, unbothered quiet that the spirit can rest, repair, and hear the gentle guidance of its own ancient wisdom. This rejection of the natural order has also caused us to alienate the very people who hold the keys to our healing, our elders. In tribal cultures, the elders were regarded as the most precious treasure of the community. They were the keepers of wisdom, the living libraries of history, and the spiritual anchors that kept the tribe steady through every storm. When an elder spoke, the young people listened with profound respect, knowing that the wrinkles on an elder's face were not flaws, but maps of survival, resilience, and deep understanding. Aging was viewed as a sacred transition into honor and leadership. Modern society, however, is obsessed with the worship of youth and speed. Because our culture values people only for their economic productivity, it casts the elderly aside when they can no longer keep up with the frantic pace of modern life. We isolate our grandparents in nursing homes, separating them from the daily rhythm of the family, and we ignore the vast oceans of life experience they carry within them. By silencing and abandoning our elders, we have created a rootless, hollow society. We have an entire generation of young people who are deeply lost, floating through life without a compass, making the same destructive mistakes over and over again because they have cut themselves off from the grounding guidance of those who walked the path before them. The emptiness of modern life is not a permanent curse. It is a symptom, a wake-up call from your spirit telling you that you are living in a way that goes against your true nature. You cannot cure this emptiness by doing more of what made you sick in the first place. You cannot find peace by acquiring a few more possessions, scrolling for a few more hours, or working yourself into further exhaustion. The path to wholeness requires the courage to slow down and return to the simple truths that have sustained humanity for thousands of generations. It begins with a deliberate return to the earth. Step off the concrete and spend time among the trees. Sit by a flowing river and listen to its song. Look up at the night sky and allow yourself to feel the profound awe of being alive on this tiny, spinning miracle of a planet. When you reconnect with nature, you realize that you do not have to carry the weight of the entire universe on your shoulders. You are a child of this earth, protected and provided for, and the earth has a natural rhythm of healing that will slowly become your own if you allow yourself to be still upon it. We must also cultivate the sacred medicine of gratitude. Emptiness thrives on the belief that you do not have enough. Gratitude is the ultimate destroyer of that illusion. When you intentionally shift your focus away from what the modern world tells you that you lack, and instead offer deep thanks for the simple gifts already present, the breath in your lungs, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the food that sustains your body, and the people who truly care for your well-being, the desperate hunger of the ego begins to quiet down. You begin to understand that true abundance is not measured by how much you have gathered, but by how deeply you appreciate what is already in front of you. We must learn to simplify our lives, to shed the unnecessary desires and superficial expectations that modern society forces upon us, and to realize that a simple life lived with an open, grateful heart is infinitely richer than a chaotic life spent chasing illusions of grandeur. We must also make a conscious effort to rebuild our human circles. Put down the digital devices and look at the real, living human beings in your life. Dedicate your time to building relationships based on honesty, vulnerability, and mutual care. Check on your neighbors, sit with your family without the distraction of screens, and look for opportunities to serve others without expecting anything in return. Generosity is a powerful spiritual medicine that instantly dilutes the emptiness in your chest. When you give your kindness, your presence, or your help to another human being, you heal a piece of your own soul. You break through the cold walls of isolation and weave yourself back into the beautiful, warm fabric of human community. Bring your elders back into the conversation. Sit at their feet. Ask them about their lives. Listen to their hardships and their victories, and honor their presence. Their perspective is the anchor we desperately need to stay grounded in this rapidly changing, chaotic world. Finally, you must make peace with the silence. Carve out moments in your day where the world is completely shut out. Turn off the music, put away the phone, close the laptop, and just sit with yourself. Let the thoughts race, let the buried emotions surface, and do not run away from them. Sit through the discomfort like a warrior standing steady in a storm. If you stay there long enough, the turbulence of your mind will begin to clear, and underneath the surface noise, you will discover a vast ocean of deep, unshakable peace. You will realize that the fulfillment, the comfort, and the security you have been searching for out there in the external world was never hidden in a product, a job, or the validation of strangers. It was always waiting for you inside, in the quiet, sacred spaces of your own heart. The emptiness of the modern landscape can feel overwhelming, but the cure does not require a massive global shift. It begins within you, with a single choice to stop running, to breathe deeply, to connect genuinely, and to remember who you truly are. You are an intentional, beautiful part of this creation, and your spirit already knows the way back to fullness. Listen to the quiet truth within, step out of the chaos, and let your healing begin.